Hello and welcome. So in this video, I'll be taking a look at how we can move in GameObjects. So that's probably the function. I mean, that's the technique you use most of the time. And in most games, appear most time. You have to move your user. Many games are about movement. Move your main player, move the enemy, move your camera to create transition effect. So we're looking at how to move simple cube in GameObjects. So once you open your project, so this is from the last video I did. So I'll be deleting this video. I will have to just I'll be deleting. So just to make it give us some short text, I'll create another script. And then you can also modify the transform. Okay, so with your mouse code, we can zoom in and out, or you can use the tools like also for moving, rotation, scaling. So when you have a mouse that's not complete, so I'm using it to scale. So this is the scale tool. Just create a kind of grind like platform. And I like organizing stuff, so in my assets folder I will create another folder named material. So in the material folder I will create the new material and I will name it let's say platform. So I will just change the color, mainly change the color to red. So the same way you attach components, click on the platform, drag the material. I'll just so I'll move my so now to control your scene view, your hand and the rest, you can hold on your alt your alt your alt key on keyboard. So you get this sort of eye, the mouse screen, the mouse icon to your eye. So you can use that to so this has this actually we are using probably 3D environment before. But in Unity it's also named here. The green is the Y is your up, then the Z, the blue is the forward, and then the X, the red is the sideways. So I like having this for possible with forward. So I will let's just do this now. I'll just attach a new script. So click on the script folder, right click, create a new script. I will name it movement controller. I'll open the script on my okay. So I have my movement controller script here. Since I have attached this script to the game object, the cube, I'll just remove that controller. So by clicking on the cube and coming to the inspector and renaming it player. So the script that has been attached to the player will modify the player's behavior. So going back to my strategy. So mainly there are several ways you can move your object. Mainly is by altering or modifying the transform. So you have the position, and you have the scale. So by changing the position value, let's assume I'm changing it, you can see it's moving. So Y, you can see it's moving, and Z, it moves forward or backward. So that's a way of modifying. So now you know in your game you can't, so you can't you just try modifying in the instructor. That would be partially impossible for the game view. So the best way you can do it, there are several ways, but that would mainly depend on the application. But for now we'll be looking at two. We have transform.Translate and then modifying the game object position with your keyboard. So, and that's mostly what you would actually have your user doing. Change, modifying the player's movement and position with the keyboard or your pointers or mobile. So transform just translate, the function mainly moves an object by a set amount of units, so related to its current position and its current rotation. So if I open this movement controller that has been attached to this player queue, if I open it in Visual Studio, now we'll create a new function or a new method, however you want to call that. So mainly you can have either a function as private or public. If you want to have a function mostly private, but if the function will be used by another script, then you have to make it public. So for now I will make it private. Void means it's returning nothing, so which means there is no return function, no return value from particular function. If you should have it wrong, let me just make it private void here. That is syntax. But if you have a function like this, this function means you are expecting this particular function to return a boolean value. So, but since our function isn't returning anything, that we will have to keep it void, the private void, not clear. So I told you we're using transform.Translate that will move the game object that this script is attached to by a set amount of units. So to do that, you have to access the transform. So the transform, just like I've showed you here, the transform is, let me show you that. This is the transform of the player. So from here you can access the position, you can access the rotation, and you access the speed. So if I want to modify this, simply I just have to access the transform.Translate function. So transform, and that's not coming up. And then the value that I want to okay, so we have in this particular translate it takes a vector 3. Vector 3 is just like the normal math vector 3, x, y, z, x for the side, y for up or down, and z for forward or backward. So let's say I want to move it forward to 0, 0, 5. So simply what this function will do is it will move the game object 5 units forward. So naturally, if I call this function here, this move player function, this function will be called immediately on start on initialization of this particular script. So if I want to run the script, I'll just have to come here. So I'll wait for it to load up, and then make sure that my script is attached to game object. Actually not attached. So I'll click on the player and attach the movement by just moving and dragging. So and then to run your script, just click on this setting. So take note of this script function. Trying to move this forward by that 5 units. So that's what the start function will do with transform.Translate. Let's move this forward, assuming this 5 was here, it would have moved it upwards by 5 units. If it was here, it would have moved it either left or right by 5 units. So now this is where the functionality of the object function comes in. But if I should call the same function, if I should call it in the object function, the object function is run every frame. So if my machine is running 60 per second, this function will call 60 times in just a second. If it's running at 30 frames per second, this function will call 30 times in a second. Yes, it's like that. So now this will continue moving this particular game object forward. Let's just say that if I save this particular state and then come back to Unity, I wait for the state to load, and then if I run the state, so make sure you save the state before coming back to it. Because I call the function in update, it will continue calling that particular function every, you see that it's every round of my time. Can you see it moving? So that's because I called it in the update function. So it keeps translating, it keeps moving this game object. So naturally, if you look at it, it says transform attached to this game object. So you are attaching this movement from the last state to the cube game object. So you are telling the cube game object to move 5 units forward every frame. That's why you have that continuous movement. So that's one way of moving the game object. The another way is using the keyboard, or let's say an input system. So for now, I'll be using the old input system, mainly the one that comes with this first system, this current version of Unity. Just have the new input system that I'll probably be using an expansion in all of my skills. To move your game object with your keyboard or probably your screen or your input device, you just have to modify the particular direction you want the game object to move in. Say forward, backward. No, forward you have a positive value, backward you have a negative. So if by making this type at -5, you could move backward. So you have to multiply this with the input, with the input value, multiply it by what? Let's say a factor of 5, or just say your movement speed. So now in the old input system, okay, let me put this back. So you get the list of default input value. So if you come to edit project settings and then input manager, you have this axis. So you have your horizontal axis. It's naturally mapped to your WASD key. You have added that typing key, so WASD, or your arrow key. So W for up, and then S for down, A and D, and it's mapped with WASD. So to simply just have to get that particular value from the input and then multiply it with the translate. So mainly you have to get the value of the input from that axis, say probably the horizontal. The horizontal axis is so your horizontal axis. So this is your horizontal axis. You have your negative value, and then you have the positive value. So this moves the game object left or right, and then you have the vertical. So this moves it forward or backward. So now in this function I will create a variable float x. So mainly for you to get the axis, you need the input just get axis, and then the axis name just get axis. So for you to know the axis name, if you check this, so that I showed earlier, your project setting. So this horizontal axis is named what? Horizontal. So we just have to put it there. So x just like let me show you this. So this is the x and this is the y. So this is negative y, this is negative x, this is positive x. So this is positive y. Now naturally get axis will return a value between +1 and -1. So +1 will show you are trying to move in the forward direction, in the positive direction. -1 will show you are moving in the negative direction. So if you get your value from, either you have the negative value or you have the positive value from 1. So if your horizontal axis, returns the positive value, that means you're trying to move in the right direction. If it returns a negative value, you're trying to move in the left direction. So the same thing applies for, I'll create another variable into the state axis. So I'm going to get the value from. So the same thing applies to check here. So we have for vertical, it's also named vertical. So you can get the value. So now if this vertical returns, if you are pressing down on your forward button or your up arrow, this vertical will return +1, so you are moving the game object forward. So if you press down on your down arrow, so this diagram sort of resembles this your normal keyboard arrow. So it's mapped exactly to this. So this is, you have +y or +1, this is -y or -1, so plus x +1, and this is minus x or -1. So now the value that this returns will then be multiplied with. So okay, now one of the ways, if you realize this is much of a vector field. So some of your chances is naturally take what a vector field. So I will just multiply this. I will be multiplying the value that I'm getting from the horizontal, from the I'll be multiplying the value that I get from my axis with what, with the movement vector. So simply I'll just have to create, since I want to move it forward and backward. So I'll create a new vector 3. I will name it, let's say, movement. So vector 3. Vector 3 will actually hold 3 values, x, y, and z. So vector 3, movement vector, move vector, move vector. So a new vector 3. I want to move it on the x and z axis. Although in the map you have it as y, but in the vector 3 axis, z is the forward direction, y is what, you can check that here. So player, okay, now you can see the player out of my screen. I just click on the player and then click the F button. Oh sorry, I was using the menu, and then click the F button to focus back. So if you notice, this is the y, this for vector 3, I mean, this is the forward direction and this is the right and left. So we have to modify the x and the what, the z direction. So this is, you multiply this with what, with your vertical axis, and you multiply this with your what, with your horizontal axis. So that's one of the jobs of working with 3D. So now I will make this particular factor x, comma, I'm not trying to move it up or down, so I'll put this at 0, and I'll make this what, determine y. So mainly this movement vector is what, the value that I get from x and what, and my y. So the x will be modifying the that will be the left and right, and then this value here, on your normal this will be x, y, and z. In your 3D, z does what, it modifies the forward or backward, x modifies the left or right, y modifies it going up or down. So you have to kind of understand the 3D space. So now this will only return a value between -1 or +1. So the movement will be a little bit small. So I will just I will create another float value called speed, and I will name that as I will make the value 12. So 12. And then instead of using this value, I will use the movement vector multiplied by the speed, multiplied by Now I'll be using a function called time.deltatime. The main function of time.data the main function of time.deltatime is data time is the completion time in seconds to the last frame. So by multiplying this factor, the movement will be frame independent. So no matter if you are running on a 60 frame per second system, or you are or someone is using a lesser frame per second system, so the movement will be the same. So it has to make sure the game is frame independent. So now, sorry, just a single semicolon. So now I'll be calling the function here, so it's already called. I will save the script, and then hopefully this should work. If I run the code, let me return this y to 0. So, sorry, I'm trying to so if I run the code now by using the WSD key or the arrow keys on my keyboard, I'm able to control the cube movement. So you have your first movement in Unity. So mainly what this does is by calculating, I'm calling the function I'm calling the move player function in the object function. So it's calculating this every frame per second. So by clicking on the A key or the B key or your arrow up or your arrow down, it's getting the value from this arrow down and multiplying it with the speed. So I think I said the speed as well. So that's how you get your movement. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.